So it's time to get uncomfortable with tiny assignment fees. That's the topic of today's show. But before we jump in, if you have not been to our website, head on over to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. And there you can get a copy of the very same script we've used in our business to do over 1,400 real estate deals, and specifically big ones, which I'm going to talk about today. So head on over to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. Also, if you'd like to connect with me on Facebook, go ahead and check me out over at wholesalingincgroup.com. It's one of the best wholesaling groups out there on wholesaling. So I'd love to connect with you. Before I jump in today's show, I'm going to play a phenomenal clip of someone who is in one of my private coaching programs who just did a massive deal. And so I want to whet your appetite of what's possible. But before I play this, I want you to understand that the person who is going to leave this, the clip from when this person is talking prior to him doing this deal, was really fighting me on the concept of doing big deals, right? We all have a default on how much money we think that we deserve to make on each deal, what we think we're worth. And so over a lot of training and working with this individual who I'm super proud of and super impressed with, total rock star, you're going to see something pretty special, a transformation that I've seen right before my eyes. So let's go ahead and play the clip, and then we'll get into today's episode.
We just closed that massive deal yesterday and got paid, so that was pretty exciting. I think that the value add we decided to do by tearing up the carpet and putting paint in really boosted the value. My agent thought we might get $220 for it. We ended up getting two offers of $250, both cash, no inspections required or anything. So that was a blessing. We got it for $112. The three it was two lots in a house next to each other. Yeah. So $112. We sold for $250. Our wire after all of our closing costs and the transactional costs was about $117. So that was our biggest yet. In fact, it was more than we made last year. So it was nice to have a break.
Awesome, James. Thanks for letting us use that, and I'm super proud of you. By the way, if you're listening to this, now that you heard that, I think James said he made $117,000 on one deal. I want you, right? I'm talking to you, by the way, if you're listening to this, right? Maybe you're on for a run or you're working out or you're in the car. You got to get uncomfortable with small assignment fees. The best wholesalers I know, the most profitable wholesalers I know, the most free wholesalers that I know who have six figures sitting in the bank know how to do big, fat, juicy wholesale deals. And let me tell you, it is the name of the game. So how do you do big wholesale deals, right? How do you get uncomfortable with big wholesale deals? Well, I can tell you that your comfort zone is the enemy. If you are currently doing $5,000, $7,000, $10,000, $12,000 wholesale deals, hey, I want to congratulate you. That was your first step. But it's time now to move out of kindergarten, right? You got to get out of that white belt and now do that black belt. And by the way, if you're just listening to this, you can start with the black belt. You don't need to do a $5,000 or a $7,000 or a $10,000 wholesale deal. Think about it. Everyone's like, Todd, okay, a $117,000 is outside of my comfort zone, and a $10,000 deal is inside my comfort zone, and you're just telling me to get outside of my comfort zone. I don't buy it. Well, let me give you an example. We always, every single day, you, me, your friends, your spouse, your family members, you all are constantly, me too, living in our comfort zone. Perfect example. If you are listening to this podcast right now and I said, hey, I have a job for you at McDonald's and I want you to take it today, and I'm going to pay you minimum wage to work at McDonald's for 40 hours a week, and I'll give you that job right now. And you say, no, I'm not doing that. The reason why you say no is that is outside of your comfort zone. That's it, right? You could say, well, Todd, I would never do that. I'm above that, or I'm better than that, or I have a better opportunity from that. But what it comes down to is that McDonald's is outside of your comfort zone on the low range, right? You are not comfortable working at McDonald's, so you say no. And so the only difference is where that gauge is. I talk about the income thermostat. And so right now, a $10,000 deal does not, if you're doing $10,000 deals, fall below where your income thermostat is. That's it. Okay. And so there's no sneaking around this. If you're constantly doing $15,000 deals or 20, that's where your comfort zone is. And I had another private client today on one of our coaching calls. He said, oh man, I did a $20,000 deal and it was okay, but I've got, a 35 and a 50 in the works. It was awesome. I had a big smile on my face because now $20,000 is out of his comfort zone. And so you need to decide after today's episode, Todd, I am uncomfortable with anything 10, 20, 30, 35. I'm uncomfortable with that. I have to transform. I have to be a new person. My mind has to be stretched and I've got to grow it. Okay. And I'm going to share with you a couple of reasons why you need to stop doing small assignment fees. Let me talk about two different wholesalers. Wholesaler A does 3 deals in a month. Not a big stretch. He or she makes $10,000 a deal, right? That's $30,000 a deal, a month. Beats a sharp stick in the eye, except wholesaler A, right, is spending about $7,500 a month in marketing. And maybe they have a virtual assistant and some software, accounting and taxes and all that. And basically, after all said and done, right, they're going to have 30,000 gross. They may be keeping, I don't know, $10,000 to $15,000 of that a month. And by the way, if you're happy with $100,000 a year or $120,000 a year, hey, that's okay. But you're probably not listening to this podcast because that's what you want to do. Maybe you want to get to $250,000 a year net, $500K a year net, 7 figures a year net in your pocket. And that's where I want your comfort zone to be. And then even blow past that. Same person, same wholesaler, or let me say wholesaler B, does same exact thing, spends the same amount of marketing, but instead their comfort zone is $35,000 instead of 10. And now they do 3 deals at $35,000. Okay, you're looking at $125,000. $105,000 gross. Okay, $70,000 net. Okay, and now that wholesaler has, $15,000 a month easy to stick back in marketing, of which now they can repeat that process month after month after month after month after month. And after a year, wholesaler A made about $100,000, right? Doesn't have that much money in the bank, doesn't have a big cushion, is on the treadmill, can't hire people, can't build the team, doesn't have enough margin. Wholesaler B has basically netted about 600 grand, right? Lived off, I don't know, 150, 200 of that, pays another 100,000 and 150, 200 in taxes, now has $200,000 in the bank after tax to now reinvest a part of that into his or her business or a cash flowing mobile home park, my favorite, right? Or to hire a team member to now double the income next year. But those are power moves. You see that difference, right? That $35,000 compared to a 10 is like everything. Same amount of marketing, same amount of work, just a different mindset. So change it. Get out of your comfort zone and make that decision. The difference is staggering over the course of a year. Now, the first step of this is belief. Belief. Now, I just got back from a Hawaii vacation with my family and spent a week on Maui, which was awesome. And I'm going to do a little bit of a humble brag here, if that's okay. I am the world's best parking spot finder. You can't beat me. You can't take me down. Anywhere we go, I will find the best spot right in front of the location that we need to go. And I am halfway kidding, but I am serious about this. We just went to this place. If you've ever been in Maui, it's called Twin Falls, and very popular spot where you go and you drive to this place and you hike to these beautiful waterfalls. Well, it's a very common attraction, so there's hardly any parking. And by the way, the whole time that we're in Maui, I'm always finding these great parking spots, and this was no difference, right? Long story short, I got a parking spot right in front of the entrance, and my in-laws who were there parked about a half mile down the road. Now, the difference between myself and my in-laws, and by the way, is I believe that I'm going to get a good spot. Okay, and so what I do is I sit and I wait and I commit to getting that spot. Now, I will see other cars drive by. I will see other people circling. You know, I take a look around and I could have a fear of missing out of a better parking spot, a quarter mile or a half mile down the line. And I keep moving, looking, trying to hit a moving target, not having the belief that I'm going to find one in front. But if I stay present, if I stay there, more than likely a spot is going to open up. Right. And so the entire week at my vacation, I was like, what's the first step to find a great parking spot, guys? And everyone was like, belief. And that was very true. And sometimes we wait a while, right? And that's okay. And sometimes we miss out on inferior parking spots, right? And that's okay. And sometimes I have to be a little bit more patient, and I will miss out on an inferior parking spot sometimes, right? But at the end of the day, I'm going to get a primo spot. And so it all starts with belief. And of course, that's a lighthearted way of talking about that. But I talk about the same thing with our team. You know, like we've got to be doing $35,000, $45,000, $50,000 on the regular, right? I want to see you go for $100,000, $150,000 deals too. And if you do that, you're going to win. But you have to believe it. Right? Because if you're like, hey, I just want to get that next $10,000 win or the next $15,000 win, you're not going to take the shot when you've got that big, fat, juicy deal sitting in front of you, right? You're not going to go for it. And so you must believe that it is possible. How do you make yourself believe it? Well, you tell yourself you deserve it. You put your eyes on it. You write a note in front of your phone that says $50,000 deal. And you refuse to settle for $5,000 and $10,000 deals. I had a couple of clients who were chronically doing small deals, and their profitability sucked. Super smart guys, but they were doing like $3,000 deals, $5,000 deals, $7,000 deals, and they had like 20 contracts on the board, and they kept on bragging how they had 20 deals. And I'm like, great, how much profit is there in this? And no joke, out of 20 deals, there was like $65,000 sitting there in profit. And if you can imagine the chaos of trying to do 20 deals and make $65,000, and by the way, like a quarter of those weren't even closing, and they had all sorts of title problems. And I said, listen, here's what I want you to do. Number one, I want you to believe that you are worth at least $30,000. And so I want you to go back and I want you to renegotiate all 20 of these contracts, okay, for a minimum. Now, believe me, my minimum for you, I want to be $35,000. But I said, I gave them a little bit of slack. And I said, I want you to negotiate these all for a minimum of $25,000. And they're like, well, the sellers won't go for that. I said, no. I said, many of the sellers won't go for that. So let me do some math for you. These deals, right, were like an average of like $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, right? I said, look, so there's about $65,000 in profit here, potentially, with a lot of work. I said, what if you take these 20 deals and you go and you renegotiate and you lose 70% of these, okay? But the 5 that you keep, okay, you make $25,000 each on. That's $125,000. and you let go of all of the others, right? You now are pretty much making double with about 20% of the work. So they reluctantly agreed. And long story short, they did just that. And they did not lose 75% of the deals. They lost about 35% of the deals, and they wound up making about $150,000 instead of making 65. And they got rid of like a bunch of the crap deals, reduced their workload so much. And so that is a pruning process. You need to be able to let go of the good to get to the great. That is really important. The next part is I want you to start to be disappointed with small deals. Sometimes it is going to happen. You're going to do a $10,000 or a $20,000 deal. I had a client who was on the phone who was disappointed with his $20,000 deal. And I was like, that's so awesome. I was like, I want you to have gratitude for that 20K. That's good. Enjoy it. Put it in the bank. But just know, hey, that's below the standard. Right. And so you're going to do better next time. And this is what the standard is. And he was laughing because he's like, I know, I was so happy with the $20,000 deal 60 days ago. And so if you change that, you will win. So remember, part of that is renegotiating deals if you have to, if it's below your minimum. The last part about this is understanding a little bit of the dynamics, right? Like, why don't we want to do big deals? Well, maybe we feel like we don't deserve it, or we're not offering that much value. And I could tell you that the deals that were the biggest ones, the six-figure deals, the sellers were the most ecstatic. They were the happiest. They were grateful. They went right to closing. They got it done. They wanted their money. They want to be done. They left us testimonials. And that's the way it normally works. And so sellers, not all sellers, but a portion of sellers are really excited to get speed and convenience. And because of that, they're willing to trade equity. And so provide that service. Be there. You be the one that provides that value. Because if you don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. And they're going to get the testimonial. And they're going to get the cash flow. And they're going to help the seller, right? And they're going to get all the credit. And the seller's going to have all these great feelings towards them, and they're going to have the money, and you're going to be on the outside looking like, Todd, my business is struggling. So my goal for you is know your worth, know the value. You're doing something good when someone is in trouble, and you can help them and make it happen. The last part is after you do this 35 or 40 or 50 or $100,000 deal, default is going to try to suck you back. Man, oh man, it's going to try to suck you back to that old $10,000 deal. But you got to keep focused. You got to see truth. You got to keep your eye on the end goal and know that you are worth 35, 45, 55, 60, $100,000 deals. Imagine, okay? You do $20,000, $50,000 deals in a year, 20 deals, okay? That's a lot of money. That's $1 million. I know that you can do it. By the way, one of my favorite ways to do big, fat, juicy deals, okay, and to get those leads fast, you got to check out fastsellerleads.com. This is one of my favorite ways to get leads. It's literally you sign up at fastsellerleads.com, you input your name into the website. Someone will give you a call back from fastsellerleads.com. You sign up for your counties. You actually bid for the amount that you will pay for leads, kind of like eBay a little bit, and you get exclusive leads sent to you from motivated sellers every single day. We're closing in these approximately 1 out of every 35 leads in the super hot markets. In the markets that aren't as competitive, you'll see it as 1 out of every 8. So if you want to check out the fast, easy way to get leads, check out fastsellerleads.com. Again, that's fastsellerleads.com, and start getting leads today. Okay, quick reminder. Number 1, comfort zone is the enemy. 2, there's a big difference between 2 wholesalers doing 3 deals a month. One's doing 10K, the other one's doing 35K a deal. Difference is staggering, about $500,000 a year. Remember my example about Hawaii and the good parking spot? You got to believe you're going to find the spot. You got to believe that you're going to get the deal, because if you wait there, you'll be ready. You expect it. You're going to get that big, fat, juicy deals. Okay. Don't settle with parking a half mile to a mile down the road. Don't do it. Okay. Be patient. Your time will come. Be disappointed with $10,000 or $20,000 deals. Put it in the bank, be grateful, have gratitude. But then, okay, make sure you get out of your comfort zone and get the big deal on the next one. Renegotiate anything below your minimum. It's okay to say no. When you walk away, you're going to get a portion of your sellers to say, okay, I'll do the deal. You got to have that walk away power. Do the math, okay? You renegotiate two deals to $30,000 a pop. Okay, that's $60,000. Okay, you try to keep 5 deals at 7, that's 35, that's half as much. 3 times as much work. I found that sellers are more excited on the ones that I've done bigger deals on. They're more motivated. They go to closing, they're ready to go. And be the one that helps them. Okay, last thing is default is a killer. Do not get sucked back in your comfort zone. Happens to me all the time. I've constantly got to fight it. Okay, keep your goal in front of you. Be around people who are doing big deals. Listen to this podcast. Check out fastsellerleads.com to get hot smoking leads like right now. And I will talk to you on the next episode.